Their manager, Arne Slot.
Whilst perhaps you weren't as ruthless as we have seen this afternoon, what are the positives you'll take from this in terms of the platform now this result gives you going into such a big week against Real Madrid and then Man City?
The positive is that we fought back after being 2-1 down, but I think it was only 2 times that they arrived in our 18-yard box. The first one was not even a chance, but we made a foul that made it a big chance from a penalty. And the second one was a great counter-attack from, I think, a set piece from us. So I think in general we dominated the game completely, but because of the scoreline we all felt like it's a difficult one today. But if you just look back at the amount of shots we had, at the way we dominated ball possession, I think in the end we deserved to win it, but because of the scoreline it was a difficult one.
Yeah, and whilst you have found a way today, how important is it you see that intensity across the full 90 when you come up against Man City next weekend?
Yeah, but first of all we play against Real Madrid, which is also, we face now the 2 teams that have dominated football I think in the last 4 or 5 years, so City especially here in the Premier League, but also won the Champions League once. And Real Madrid is known for winning the Champions League almost every year. So 2 big games coming up, 2 interesting ones for us to play. But therefore we needed to win today, and that's where I'm most happy about.
I'm sure he is. He's the joint fastest to 10 Premier League wins in his first 10 in Premier League history. And Liverpool are 8 points clear. We'll talk about that huge week in a moment. He's talking about not playing well for the 90 minutes. I mean, have they, it sounds a silly question when they're 8 points clear, but have they really played well in a whole game and controlled a Premier League game yet this season?
Yeah, I mean, they probably have, but there's not a lot of performances that spring to mind, isn't it? You know, I'm not kicking
Man
United, but they won easy at Old Trafford, but they didn't win at Ipswich easy. You know, they've won games, but they haven't performed outstandingly well in a lot of them. But it doesn't really matter, does it? You know, the fact that I can't remember suggests that, you know, they've just carried on with the job and they've rolled on and they've been more impressive performance-wise probably in the Champions League. They've gotten over the line numerous times and come from behind, and numerous times in the Premier League. But the games now, and you don't even have to get yourself up for the games. They got Real Madrid on Wednesday, who were struggling really, and they got a lot of injury problems, so that shouldn't be a problem. The big one's Manchester City in the league. That's what everybody will sit back and look at, because they're going through a tough time themselves, and Liverpool are flying, and people are saying the league could be decided between those 2 sides on Sunday if Liverpool get the right results or City get the negative results.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? I mean, this time next week...
In December, yeah, 1st of December.
December the 1st, City could be 11 points behind Liverpool. They don't come back from that, do they?
You would think not, with the way things are going at the moment, but you never know. I mean, Pep's done it before, hasn't he? You know, they've had bad starts and come like a train and, you know, scare the life out of everyone, whoever they play against, but it looks very far-fetched at the moment, but... You know, that's a reality, isn't it? You can see Liverpool beating Man City next week.
Also, you need to stay fit, Ted, don't you? You can't go gung-ho, we're going to do this, Liverpool are going to do this, because if they lose Salah and Van Dijk and another, and it's long-term, well, then Liverpool have got major problems, and that's what City have lost. They lost De Bruyne for a while, then they've lost Rodri for a long time, which is very unfortunate. Kovacic. You know, Arsenal lost Ødegaard, they lost Declan for a bit. So you need to keep your best players fit. And if Liverpool can keep them fit and have that type of squad they had today, they should go very far. But you can't say it's nailed on that they won't, you know, they can't do this and they can't do that. No. Because football just comes back to kick you in the face sometimes, doesn't it, with injuries?
I think there's a lot of top quality sides at the top of the table as well, where I don't think it necessarily comes down to just Manchester City beating Liverpool beating Manchester City. I think Chelsea are getting better, so they could take points off either one of those 2. Arsenal there, with Ødegaard coming back, some of the players they've got. We've seen Spurs, what they can do on their day. They've beaten Manchester City 4-0 at the Etihad. So I don't think it necessarily comes down to those 2 just playing each other. I think a lot of the top sides on any given day could take points of any of them, but Liverpool so far have been fantastic. Bar that Nottingham Forest result, which is a prime example, who've started off really well. Anyone could really beat anyone at the top of the table, but I just think Liverpool's consistency might see them over the line this year.
Has they surprised you post-Klopp, how consistent they've been under Arne Slot?
Most definitely. I think you would put it down that new manager coming in, transition. Is he going to upset a few egos at Liverpool? But I think he's been very clever. You know, the way he's come in, and he could be saying things to the press which upsets the fans, and don't ever go at Klopp because he was our hero. We loved him for the last, you know, all that up to the crowd, up to the cop. He's just, you know, he said some lovely things about Klopp that, you know, that he hasn't had to change a lot because it was fantastic here, and he's right. You know, it's very unusual to go into a football club when they're on a high. You normally go into a football club because someone's got sacked because it's not good enough. So you have to repair a few things. He hasn't had to do that, and he's done it very well.
And just on that potential 11-point gap if City lose at Anfield, this is what Pep had to say yesterday after losing to Tottenham.
Pep, were you to lose at Anfield next weekend, that could be an 11-point gap to Liverpool. Would that be too much?
Yeah. In the terms of Liverpool is winning, it's true. Yeah.
I love him.
I know.
love him.
How cool was that answer?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
Come back in February and then ask me again. But that's exactly what it is, isn't it? At this moment in time, it's too much. Because they're struggling and Liverpool are not. But you never know. No. You never know in 2 months' time the circumstances.
I don't like to remind you, 1997-98, in December, you were 13 points clear of Arsenal.
Move on.
It's unlikely, but it can be done. It can be done.
Yes, it can be done, of course. And that's why, you know, a lot of people who get asked questions who have played for the respective clubs are never gung-ho about it, you know, saying, oh, they're nailed on to do this. Because we've seen it so often in history, in the past. We've been involved in games where you're expected to win, you lose, and then next week you're expected to win, you lose again, and suddenly it's panic stations. So if you want to be involved in all the competitions like all the best teams are, you're going to play a lot of games between now and the end of the season. And, you know, you have to be confident. You have to just stay positive and keep moving forward. And Liverpool will have to do that.
And has that result yesterday just kept us?
Yeah, of course. But again, Arsenal, they've been a bit patchy of late. But Odegaard coming back's massive. Getting that result against Forest, because Forest have started off really, really well. But they've got to keep believing. I mean, to catch Liverpool's going to take some doing. You're relying on other teams to get results against Liverpool. Manchester City, as bad as they are, I don't expect them to stay that bad all season. But all Arsenal can keep doing is winning games. And if it comes to a point where the gap is closer, then Arsenal have to capitalise. But we've seen the last couple of seasons, unfortunately, even when they've had a lead, they haven't managed to hang on to it. But all they can do is keep winning games and hope somewhere down the line Liverpool drop points.
It's going to be some game next Sunday. I mean, the City have to get something out of it, realistically, joking apart.
Realistically, yes, without a shadow of a doubt. And they need to find something this week. They need to get a bit of togetherness. Otherwise, Liverpool will steamroll them the way they've been playing recently.
What a week for Liverpool. I mean, I know we're going to be at Anfield next Sunday. You're there on Wednesday as well.
Yeah. A massive week. You don't need to get the crowds on your side. You don't need any rhetoric. Real Madrid, who've got a poor record against Liverpool, are coming to town with injury worries themselves, so Liverpool will be big favourites for that. And then, you know, they've got Manchester City. The crowd will be baying for everything, won't they? So it's going to be an incredible atmosphere for both games. The players are looking forward to it. It's better playing these games than, you know, some minnows of European football. What a week for the Liverpool fans.
Absolutely.